What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Keisha.
And your boy Viral Valley.
And this is K&V
Vision.
And we are back with another video.
Story time. Story time. This is where it gets real. Real. We get y'all the raw. We get y'all the real. You know what I'm saying?
And unfiltered.
Believe that. Today's
story time will be about our first pregnancy experience together.
It's crazy.
With our first child together. Her name is Sarai Michelle. And this get real. So sit back, get some popcorn and get drink. Cause this is some true tea, sis. True tea.
So where should we start? What? I know where we should start.
Okay.
Woke up to a phone call. You know, me and Bae have been kicking it, you know what I'm saying?
No, that ain't where we should start.
Where we should start?
I should start this story.
Here we go.
So, this is how it started. I knew I was experiencing pregnancy symptoms. I knew because I just didn't feel right. You know, ladies, how you know when your body just feels different. And I missed my cycle and I was like a good week and a half late. And usually on my cycle, TMI, my breast gets sore. But it wasn't your normal sore. It was like sore under my underarm pits and everything. It got real. And I remember you came over my house.
Yeah.
And when you came over my house, you were trying to hug on me and all that. You know how you were. And I was like, no, wait. I was like, my boobs. I was like, they hurt. Yeah. You was like, they hurt. And I was like, yeah. And I thought you was going to be like, But you did kind of side-eye me. And then you was just like, oh, okay, well, just lay down and relax. Like, you was real sweet and sensitive. Yeah. But I kind of figured he kind of, you know, suspects something. Did you suspect something?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Nah.
Because you kind of side-eyed me.
I didn't. But I know what happened. I knew what went down.
Okay. So, I was like, okay, you know, we moved past that. And so then it became 2 weeks. And I was like, my cycle still ain't here. My cycles are regular at that time. Like, they regulated. Long story behind that. But they regulated. So I was like, something's off. So I snuck and got a pregnancy test. At this time, I was 23.
Ain't tell me nothing.
I was 23. And I snuck. I didn't want anybody to know. I was taking a test. I didn't want any of that. So I went to the Dollar Tree, yes, the Dollar Tree, and got a cheap dollar test and played it off. And I told myself, I'm just gonna take it in the morning. I'm not gonna take it today, whatever. I know I'm not pregnant anyways. It's just, maybe my cycle is, you know, crazy because I suffered from PCOS for years of my life, my whole teenage years and everything. Right. So I didn't think I was pregnant at all. I didn't even think I could have kids. And so I was like, I'm just gonna take the test later. So then I had woke up early in the morning. I'm talking like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was living with my mom at that time. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I got up at 3 and I had to use the bathroom and I was like, I can't sleep. I'm nervous. I know I need to take this test and I keep trying to avoid it. So let me just take it. So I went and took the test at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just remember, you know, dropping a little pee on the stick and moving it to the side. Like, I'm not gonna look at this. I already know it's negative, so whatever. So I do my wash my hands, and then I just pick it up. And I looked and seen the 2 lines. And I was like, you're right. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I started like panicking. And I was excited, but I was nervous. I was scared. It was all wrapped up in one. Because I had a feeling I was, but I just didn't want to trust my instinct. So I just started panicking and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to bed and I'll deal with it in the morning. And I said, who am I kidding? I know I can't go to sleep. So I immediately went to my mom's room. I went to my mom and I wake her up and I'm like, Mom, I'm pregnant. And she was like, what? Who died? And I was like, died. I said, I think I'm pregnant. And she was like, quit playing with me. It is too early. And I said, no, Mom, I'm serious. I really think I'm pregnant. And she was like, what are you talking about? I said, Mom, I took a test. I think I'm pregnant. Look, come look at the test. And she's like, and I said, Mom, come look at this test. So she gets up and her boyfriend is asleep. And I wake him up too. And I'm like, you come look at the test too. Because I was like so nervous. So she goes to the bathroom and she looks at the test and she looks at me. She says, nuh-uh. Because she always wanted grandkids and I'm her first, you know, her first child. And she was like, nuh-uh. And I was like, Mom, look at the box. Look at the box. It says 2 lines, I'm pregnant. And she was like, oh my gosh. Like she gets excited. And then her boyfriend comes in and he was like, yeah, right. Like they excited. And then I'm like, wait a minute. What if it's a false positive? You know? Right. And so long story short, I was so anxious and antsy to know, and I didn't really know. I just was like, listen, I can't wait. I said, let's go get another pregnancy test. We ended up, no, I was like, let's just go through emergency. So we went through the emergency and they confirmed I was pregnant. And so I was just cheesing from ear to ear. I'm so excited. And my mom was like, so are you gonna call him? Because I told her, you know, immediately, Travell, you know. She was like, well, when did y'all, you know, she was like all confused. And I was like, she was like, so are you gonna call him after, you know, we found out that they confirmed it? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna call him. So I called him, and at this time it's like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
It was, it's like 6,
yeah, it was like 6 or 7 in the morning.
The sound was just coming.
And so I call him, and I'm like,
I'm asleep though. I'm at my cousin's house asleep.
And I'm like, couch, oh my gosh, what is he thinking? I got so many nerves, so many things going on in my mind. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is he gonna want to be there? Is he gonna deal with me? Da 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 da. So I was just like, Travell, you up? And he's like, what's up? Yeah, I'm up now, you know. And I was like, I'm pregnant. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm at the doctor, I'm pregnant. And he was like, wow.
Hey, that's all I could say.
And he just kept saying, wow.
I'm gonna tell you why.
And wait, and my mom was like, he got one more damn time to say wow. And he
me and him gonna have a problem.
Because like, you know, in the hospital,
that's all I heard.
Everything echoes in the room. And so she just kept hearing him say, wow. And she was on fire. She was heated. And so then she takes the phone out of my hand. And she was like, so you got a baby on the way?
And what you gonna do?
And what you gonna do? And he was like, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. He was like, and he was like, well, call me when you get to the house. I'm on my way. And I was like, okay. So now you can tell at that point what you felt.
So, mind you, I'm at my cousin's house, sleep. I get this news. I got my other cousin with me. We walk out of my cousin's house. I'm about to go drop my cousin off. I'm like, bro, I'm still in this wow stage. I'm like, bro, I done did it, bro. I done did it. He like, what? I'm like, you remember old girl Keisha, you know, on the other side of the park? And he like, yeah. I'm like, bro, she pregnant. And he like, what? Like, whoo. And this is where it gets crazy. Because at the same time Bae was pregnant, my ex was pregnant too, with my second son, Markel. Now, me and her, we was living together, but we was broke up. She, you know, months before she had found out she was pregnant, but she found out she was pregnant 2 days after she broke up with me. And I was cool with the breakup. I was ready for that. The relationship was real toxic. So it was time to stop, you know, even with a baby coming.
Mind you, I did not know.
She didn't know.
The whole thing about that.
She didn't know
at that time. When we were involved, I didn't know they were living together. I didn't know he had a baby on the way. Now, I knew about his older son, which is TJ. he's older. He was already, when we reconnected, I had seen pictures of him and his son. But I thought that was it. I didn't know that it was one on the way. I didn't know any of that. But by the time I found out, I was already pregnant. So it's like, I couldn't just like backpedal. Because honestly, when I found out about it way after, I was like, oh no. Like, I felt like it was just going to be drama. So I was at that point in my mind wanting to backpedal. Because I was like, I don't want any parts of that. I don't know if that's done and over with, you know, but I didn't find out about it till we were already involved.
But I knew what time it was, you know.
Like
I said, what were you gonna say, babe?
That was part of the reason why I was nervous when I found out I was pregnant. I was excited because I'm like, hey, I'm having a baby. I'm not, you know, I'm keeping my baby.
Right.
But I was nervous because I had basically found out right before that about his situation. So that's why I was nervous.
Right. And, you know, with everything going on, you know, the news, the new news to me, you know, I dropped my cousin off at his crib. I go straight to my crib. I was staying with my mom at the time as well. So I get to my mom's crib and I tell my mom just off the rip, I'm like, you know, baby girl, Keisha, I've been talking to, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and she like, yeah. And it felt like she knew, like she was looking at me like, you got more to say than what you're saying. So, and she already knew that my ex was pregnant, you know? And so, you know, because we was all living together, it was just me and her wasn't together. But so, my mom like, so what's up? You know, just spit it out, say it. I'm like, well, mom, she pregnant. And she was like, oh, okay. You know, she was cool. She was like, okay, well, you know, you're gonna have to get a whole nother job. You know what I'm saying?
And this is the thing though. Remember, because when I found out I was pregnant, she had already taken TJ and moved out. Moved out of town. You know, that's one of the reasons why I backpedaled, because when we were just talking before I knew I was pregnant, him and her, we were on the phone. Right. And him and her got into this heated argument, and I was like, well, you know, why is she there? And that's when I found out she lived there. I didn't even know. So when we found out Bae was pregnant, my ex was out of the house. She had moved. She took my oldest son TJ away from me, out of town to Iowa, and wasn't letting me talk to him, wasn't letting me see him, none of that. And I was just nervous about it because I knew that situation had taken place. But I was like, okay, so where does that put me? Because I didn't know how it was going to be. We were like with each other all the time, but they still had history. So I'm thinking like, where does that stand? Like, you know, is he going to just leave me? In my mind, I was mentally prepared to raise my daughter by herself. Well, I didn't know she was my daughter at that time, but my baby by myself. Right. Like, because I was like, I don't know if he's going to go back to her. I don't know what's going to happen. So I was already mentally preparing myself because I don't want to. I call myself protecting my feelings in my heart because I didn't want my feelings hurt. And you know me, the way I did it, the way, you know, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to see my son already got and my baby that was on the way by my ex, because I was like, well, if she find out that I got another baby on the way, she gonna keep him from me even more. I was right, you know. I kept it a secret from my family. A secret for the majority of my mom knew. Not majority, but a good chunk of my pregnancy. Too damn long. Right. You feel me? And the thing about it is, I understood his situation, as far as, you know, her keeping, you know, but enough TJ was and then your second baby. Yeah. And but I, you know, I understood it, but at a point I was like, that's not fair to us. Nah, it is not. So it's her first pregnancy, right? And I didn't get to enjoy it the way I wanted to because it was drama filled, unfortunately. Right. So months passed. You know, I call my ex, and I'm just like, you know, I wanted to be the first one to tell her. I'm like, hey, let me ask you a question. And she's like, what? Before you get to that part though, what's up? The reason he did that is because I guess my hormones finally like kicked in. Yeah. I was frustrated, and it's just one day I was just at my wit's end. Right. Because I knew they had started talking back she was already in another state.
Right.
But they had started talking back, but not talking like that. They were just, she was letting him speak to TJ.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of being a secret. Yeah. I'm not gonna be a secret. At this point, we were together. We were in a full-fledged relationship at this point. Right. And I was about maybe 4 months pregnant. Yeah. 4 or 5 months pregnant. Yeah. And I was like, you know, we're not gonna keep doing this. Either she know and get over it. I don't really care. Right. But she's gonna know because you're not gonna hold me as a secret. So I felt it was disrespectful at that point.
It was. So I called my ex and I'm like, hey, let me ask you a question. And she was like, what, Travell? I'm like, hey, did anybody tell you I got a baby on the way? And she was like, no, why, do you? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, click. I'm like, well, I knew that was gonna happen. I wasn't even tripping. You know, I had Keisha. I'm like, whatever. So she calls right back. So who is it? And she had seen Keisha in my cell phone before she even moved out of town. And so I was like, you know, baby girl that was in my phone, you know, and she was like, oh, the one that was, you know, showing her cleavage. Babe, you know, had a shirt that was low cut, you know,
Before I had kids,
looking all scrumptious, but you know.
Before I had kids, I had very nice cleavage.
and so I'm like, yeah. She was like, click. And I'm like, she hot. Okay, whatever. You know, so, and she was living in Iowa. She was straight where she was at. But due to the fact that I had a whole nother woman pregnant and was in a whole nother relationship and was happy, started showing pictures on Facebook and all that, you know, we good over here. Boom. She moves back.
But she moves back and moves into his grandmother's house.
With my grandmother. Now,
so
you would think that wouldn't happen, you know what I'm saying? But as messy as my grandmother is, it would.
That's a whole nother story time within itself.
I don't know if YouTube got enough.
I don't think y'all ready for that type of story.
I don't know if YouTube videos are long enough to tell that story.
That's a whole mess. But anyways. So as my pregnancy is going, like we're trying to enjoy, I found out I was having a girl, so that was exciting. Like I was so thrilled. I always wanted a daughter. And I always wanted a daughter too. I always wanted 2 girls.
Yeah. And she got them.
I got my 2 girls and my boy.
Right.
And then my 2 extra babies. Yeah. But so you know, we were thinking of names and everything, but I told him if it's a girl, off top,
you got the name.
Her name is Sarai Michelle. Off tops, I knew it because when I went to Bible study, you know, years before we got together,
right,
and my pastor had told me the story about Sarai and Abram. I love that name. I fell in love with that name off tops. It was just the most beautiful name to me.
At first I was like, Sarai, it wasn't hitting to me.
He didn't like it, and I told him, I said, you know, honestly, if it's a boy, I would let you pick. I said, but if it's a girl, her name is automatically going to be Sarai Michelle. Michelle is my mom's middle name, what my mom goes by.
And I was like, you know, it's your first.
I was like, you're not changing it.
I was like, it's your first, you know, whatever, have at it.
And I said, I'm sorry, Travell, you have no say-so in this matter.
When we found out it was a girl, I was like,
Sarai Michelle. Definitely Sarai Michelle.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, we try to enjoy, like, we planned the baby shower and everything together. And that is another story within itself.
Yeah.
It was a lot, y'all.
Yeah,
I had to deal with so much, y'all.
She had to deal with a whole lot
much of his past.
Unnecessary baby mama drama, family drama from my side.
I mean, all I wanted to do was be with my man and raise my child, honey.
Yeah.
And I had to deal with so much, y'all. Y'all do not understand. It was like, it was more and more piling up. If it wasn't from his exes, it was from his family.
Yeah.
And I had a high risk pregnancy. I was on bed rest for like
most of the pregnancy.
Yeah. I had a weak pelvic bone.
Yeah.
I had to wear a pregnancy band.
Early.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad. I had a rough pregnancy. I had high blood pressure, so they felt I had preeclampsia.
Right.
So I mean, I had to leave work. Like, I didn't get to work for like the last 3 months of my pregnancy. It was a lot.
And with the news that it was out that we was having a daughter,
I had to deal with his family talking.
Right. Then it got to the point where family members was saying, "Oh, that baby not yours."
I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. They didn't know me. They didn't even know my name.
Right.
Like, they didn't even know my full. They didn't know anything about me.
And I told my mom from jump about her, even before we was, you know, sexually active or anything. You know, me and my mom, we close. So, and just like her and her mom, they close. You know, so we chopped it up.
And I had met his mom when I was like, what, 2 months? No. I think I met her right after I found out I was pregnant. Yeah, I did. I met her right after I found out I was pregnant. Yeah. And it was cool, but I still, you know, felt, you know, I looked at everybody in his family funny because of the treatment I got. Yeah. Like his cousin, I met her first.
And it was cool.
After his mom, I met her first. She was the only person outside of his mom that I met in their family, and besides his sister and stuff. Yeah. But outside his primary family, she was the one I met. And the first day we met, it was cool. She was pregnant too. Yeah. So we were looking at baby stuff together. We were at her house. We were talking. Yeah. It was cool. We were laughing. It was so cool.
It was real cool.
Then it's like, once his ex moved back in town, she deleted me on Facebook. She didn't say anything to me.
Right.
She's, you know, and I was like,
it's like some of my family couldn't be cool with the ex and the new girlfriend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm like, you know, that sucks because regardless if, you know, they didn't even get a chance to know me. They didn't even try to know me. They just instantly start treating me funny because of her. Yeah. But it was mainly because his grandma. But again, like I said, that's a long story.
Right.
But once, you know, I got further in my pregnancy, it got really bad once his second son was born. Yeah. Because as a woman, I still want him to be an excellent dad. I still want him to be, you know, there for his children. Right. I'm not gonna ever stop him from being with his children. Nah. So I knew, like, he better be there to witness his second son being born. Like, that was only the right thing to do. Like that's common sense. Yeah. So it's like when he went there to witness him being born and everything, because he didn't get to witness for his first son being born, so this was going to be his first experience.
Because I was in the hospital fighting for my life when his
first son was born. Yeah. So when he was born and he was at the hospital, I went through so much. Yeah. Because I was seeing post pictures on Facebook and all that, and then that was fine. But then it's like, she just wanted him to come out to the hospital for every little thing at that point. Yeah. And at one time he called me, he was at the hospital.
It was because that she knew most of my time I was with you.
Right.
If I wasn't
and we
at
were
work,
full-fledged in a relationship. We were together. Oh, and she, like, one day I was on the phone with him while he was out there visiting the baby, which is Kel. He was visiting his son and
cool Kel.
Yeah. And I heard, in my mind, I still today think I heard her call him babe. And I was like, did she just call you babe? And he was like, no, she didn't call me babe. He was like, no. And I was like, maybe you didn't hear it, but I promise I think she heard you call. I mean, I think I heard her call you babe. And you know, she knew he was on the phone with me.
Oh yeah.
So that was tough.
I didn't hide Keisha anymore.
No, I wouldn't even tolerate it.
Nah, after it was out that we was a couple, she was pregnant, we having a daughter. Excuse me, this my woman.
I had to miss like I wasn't invited to family functions, and mind you, I'm big and pregnant, you know, and I just felt like that's so messed up because I always picture when I have kids that, you know, me and my kids, you know, father was going to be together. Right. His family was going to be my family. You know, my family would be his family. And that we were just, I would have another family, like a second family. And right. I just felt we was all going to be close. That's what I always pictured for myself when I had kids.
But that didn't happen.
But that was total opposite. But my family welcomed him. Him and my mom didn't get along at first because my mom felt like he had too much baggage when we first got together, which he did.
Yeah, but I said,
he did. Yeah. But she just didn't trust that he was going to be there.
Right.
But they accept him with, like, oh, they didn't treat him nowhere near as bad as his family treated me.
Nah.
And
today, like me and her mom, and we, you know, her mom young, but me and her mom, it's more than a mom-son, you know, in-law relationship. I look at her mom like a big sister, you know what I'm saying? That's my big homie, you know what I'm saying?
And my mom is like my big sister. She's like, outside of my husband, she's my best friend.
Believe that.
But, and so once I had Sarai, only his mom came out to the hospital. Only, like, of my family, of course, but only from his side, only his mom came out to the hospital. No one else came out to the hospital to see us, nothing.
Nah.
And crazy part about it is, Sarai's birthday is December 11th. That was right before Christmas. That would have been her first, I mean, that was her first Christmas. And we had to spend it apart. Because he was so used to going to his family's house for Christmas, which I get. And I'm so used to spending time with my family. But if I was invited to his, you know, family function, I would have went. But because his ex was there, I wasn't invited. Living with his grandma, I wasn't invited. So we had to spend Christmas apart. He only spent a few hours with his daughter on Christmas. And then the rest of the day he spent with his family, which they set the table and had him and his ex sitting next to each other.
That was done on purpose.
He was not allowed to even bring me a plate because they said that the ex helped get the food, so that was disrespecting her. So his grandma told him not to bring me nothing to eat.
That was big shade.
Yeah. And I was so upset. I said, because, and we took pictures and everything with his sister, because his sister, her daughter is a little bit older than Sarai.
Just some months.
Some months, yeah. And I was upset because I'm like, this is our daughter's first Christmas, and we had to, you know, spend it apart. I said, let this be the last time, because I had all day to think about it. The more I thought about it, the madder I got. So when he came back home, because at this point we were living together, when he came back home, he didn't come home till like 10. And I said, let this be the last Christmas that we spend apart. I said, because one, I don't deserve it, but not even, most importantly, our daughter don't deserve that. I said, so if we're not allowed to go up there, then we ain't. Then I feel none of us should go at all, because that's not fair.
And when she broke it down like that, it was automatically right to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah, you right. You right as hell. Like, I don't give a damn who up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring my boys to me then. You know what I'm saying? Which she didn't want to, my ex didn't want to do that. You know, she wanted to play her little games, but her thing was, I'm not ready for them to be down there. She didn't want us to look like a big happy family, which we are now, and that's
we
were
God. Then too.
Yeah.
And then the crazy part about it is, when I was preparing for my baby shower, he went out of town, so he missed that. And then
I had to go do a performance.
But I had to deal with not only his baby mama, but I had to deal with his other ex. They decided they wanted to be friends.
They didn't want to be friends
and come for me
until neither one of them had.
So this is all what I'm dealing with on, you know, with my first pregnancy. It was so much, but it just goes to show it doesn't matter, because look at us now. Look how far we came, what we overcame. Like, I feel like truly, like, this is my soulmate. Like, we're, you know, close, but we just had to go through so much. So overall, the experience, you know, of my first pregnancy, it was good as far as being pregnant. Like, I enjoyed being pregnant. I love being pregnant. I knew I wanted more kids after that, and we created 2 more beautiful babies even after that. You know, and those pregnancies went by way better, but and the pregnancy itself was good.
Y'all get to see who we talking about when we say Sarai Michelle. She's a star. You know what I'm saying? That's our oldest daughter. That's our singer. That's our, you know, y'all gonna love her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For real.
Yep. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend, as many friends as you can. Share. Tell them to come and join the KMV Vision family.
Believe that.
Because we are KMV and this is our vision.
That's right.
So, without further ado, thank you guys. We appreciate y'all.
Love.
KMV out.